Okay, welcome back. And I have no excuses for this time. I was still pondering, but 50-50 kind of stuff. Okay, when they go into school the next day, they they are told they are getting internships. Okay, after Izawa was able to settle down the class, I understand what I'm talking about. And pretty much after they all settled down, and he told them that um they were going to go to a agency, and all of them had to pick, and the ones at the top were Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki, and they were given it. A they were given the choice of which which hero they should go to. Izuku, he All Might suggested him to go, and when everyone else started deciding the things, All Might went to Deku and told him to go to here, to his master. He would teach him how to be able to use One for All more efficiently, and to use it more better if someone is able to catch him off guard. He accepted. He went to All Might's master, one of his masters, teacher, and pretty much I forgot his name, so I'm just gonna say teacher. Okay, guys. And when Izuku first saw him, when Izuku first went there, he questioned if All Might's master was in this place. It looked very it didn't look that well. They were a lot of things were broken, and when he went in there, he saw Gran Torino. Wait, oh yeah, I just remember his name. Yeah, Gran Torino. Yeah, he saw him on the floor with a red liquid on the floor. He sniffed the air, and he said, "You're not gonna fool me. That's just ketchup." And Gran Torino said, I wasn't. Too bad. I just wanted to see a reaction, but all right. Let's come in. Let's begin your training." And Izuku went in, and Gran Torino told him that he should always expect the unexpected. And he went around the room and went in a random pattern of fighting. Izuku was not used to this, and he just had to use One for All. And he Gran Torino told him not to use it, and he just remembered that, and not to use his other quirk. He was not able to land a single blow on him. He was barely able to do anything. After 20 minutes, Izuku was tired, very tired. Gran Torino, he was so he just told Izuku that you always need to expect this kind of thing. Never expect villains to just find a normal pattern. And after two, and almost at the end, and then a few days later, Gran Torino and Deku went onto a train to go somewhere else. The reason why, it's just let's not really remember that much. And then something peculiar happened. Something just punched its head through the train's top, and what it was this: another Skullcrawler. Izuku was wondering how, but unbeknownst to him, a flashback to when he was fighting Nomu, Shigaraki told Kurigiri to take something off Izuku, like something. He told the Nomu to keep fighting, but to take something off, and he did. He punched off a tooth. The tooth was covered in blood. Kurigiri got it. Oh, sorry for this. Was covered in blood. He got into his portal, and they teleported away, knowing because the battle was going to end soon, and that they had something they'll be able to use in the future. And they did, thanks to the sign, thanks to All for One sign, Doctor. He was able to make a new Nomu, a prototype. He was able to make 3 of them. This was one of them. These 3 had no minds. They're not as strong or as big. They were still small compared to Izuku. And when Izuku saw it, Gran Torino went for it before Izuku could turn into a Skullcrawler. And he was able to injure it because it is not its skin and its skull cannot absorb impact as well as Izuku's. And then it just fell off the train, and the train did stop. It had to, for some reason. Reason why is because another one of Skullcrawler Nomus, it cut off the power to a lot of things. I'm sorry for that. And they were they were still pretty much the same size as the normal Skullcrawler, but not as strong or durable. And they were destroying the city. They were causing so much havoc and Gran Torino was handling the one that busted into the train. And Izuku told Gran Torino he's going to try to find his friend, knowing that they're in the area where Ida is, and this is the same place that Stain might be in. He did not want his friend to get hurt or anyone else to, so he jumped out of the train and to make sure no one was mistaken for a Skullcrawler, or one of the threats. He stayed in his normal form, and he took care, and he asked the one that Ida was going to, the hero that Ida went to, asked him, "Where is Ida?" And he said, "He's right behind me." And when he turned around, he was gone. And Izuku realized that he must have gone after Stain. And Izuku went looking for the two. And after a few minutes, he was able to find them. But Stain was about to kill his friend. Ida was about to be stabbed through the back with one of Stain's blades. But luckily, Izuku jumped to him and was able to kick him off. Stain was injured. The Nomus were still up and about. As Izuku turned into a Skullcrawler, he got Ida and the other hero and was about to run off, but then Stain was able to catch up to him and tried to stab him. Izuku hit him with his tail and launched him onto the wall. Stain was still up and at him, and Izuku turned around and punched him with his arm and hit him with the side of his arm. Izuku was still not cut. He was happy. And then Ida said, told Izuku to go away. This is his fight to finish. And you had no business in the matter. Izuku turned to his friend, Ida, and told him, You are about to die. I'm not going to let you or the other hero die here. And he went back to fighting. Stain recognized that Izuku was a true hero, but he still had to kill him for meddling in what he was about to do. Izuku was still barely able to dodge attacks to his softer parts of his flesh, mostly his eye, and a piece of skin that's on his jaw. That small piece that's right next to the tongue. I can't say it. You have to get more of it. You have to be more specific, but still. Izuku was barely able to dodge those attacks, but still barely able to hit Stain. And when Stain thought he was able to get Izuku got him and knocked him against the wall, and it was able to daze him. But Izuku then hit him again with his tail, whipping around and hitting him, knocking him out. And then he turned back to his human form, and apparently, and then Izuku was able to use some of some cloth that was in the dumpster to tie him up. He knew there wouldn't be enough, so he got all of the cloth he was able to find. It was long enough, and he made his arm. Then he became a slight variation of. And then he turned to a Skullcrawler again, picked up Ida, and picked up the hero that was unconscious, and picked up Stain. But before he was able to do any of that, another Nomu came in and tried to attack him. This Nomu attempted to attack Izuku and take Stain, but it was an accident. But Izuku tried to talk to it, thinking that he could make the Nomu on his side. But this Nomu was mindless, had nothing. Then he had to do the one thing they never. Then he grabbed him. Then after 20 minutes, Stain was starting to break. So with the other hero, but Izuku unintentionally hit him again with his tail, and was able to daze and was able to knock him out again. Stain, and after a few minutes, Izuku was finally able to get a grip on a Nomu's arm and launched him, and then just threw him about 100 feet away from them, and grabbed the three and turned back to his human form, and the battle was nearly over. There were still two more Nomus. The other ones were. The other Nomus was still trying to fight. The Nomu that Gran Torino fought, he was able to defeat. And the other two Nomus look exactly like this. Endeavor was able to incinerate the head of this one, and the last one. The last one was Miracle kicked it in its eye socket, killing it. And when they saw Izuku, they thought they missed one, but Izuku just turned back and and told him, no, I'm not one of them. And they stopped before they injured him. And they saw Stain and Ida. No one was around, so they made an agreement to for all the glory to go to Endeavor, because since Zuko didn't have a hero's license yet, he was still not able to who was not able to take any of the glory. He didn't mind though. And after they were able to clean everything up, Endeavor got all the glory and all the praise, Izuku and then the internship ended. They all went back to school, back to the class, and then after all that, they were that's when they got back. Ida, and after class, Ida went to Izuku and apologized. He apologized for not listening to them. Plus, I'm sorry I didn't say anything, but I can't forget about it. And he apologized to both Araka and Deku because he did not listen to them, not to take revenge. But he did. It almost cost him his life. And Izuku and Araka said, "It's okay. We don't blame you." And plus we would probably be in the same shoes if that was someone we loved. Almost losing someone you love and care about would be pretty horrible, and we would most likely want to get revenge, but if we do take revenge, it won't solve anything. It won't be able to change anything. And Ida, and then the day ended with the three going off into their own routes. But before they left, Izuku and Araka kissed each other and waved each other goodbye. Okay, that's the end of this. The next one will be pretty exciting. We'll have more Nomus of Izuku. Well, see you all in the next What If.